Round 2 of the Scarlet Faithful podcast here on this beautiful Monday, June 3rd. I'm in New York City. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you are. This episode is brought to you by Knights of the Raritan, the Rutgers NIL Collective. I'll have the link to the newsletter, free newsletter, in the description of this episode. Check it out. Keeps you up with Rutgers athletics ins and outs, and also promotions and things that Knights of the Raritan is doing. Knights of the Raritan provides a unique way for Rutgers athletic programs to be successful in the ever-changing NIL environment. Become a member today of the Knights of the Raritan for a chance to win giveaways, unique experiences, exclusive event invites, and more. I know they have some stuff in the works this summer, and then with the upcoming fall, and obviously highly anticipated year for both football and basketball. Going to touch on both in this episode. Robbie Johnson, now the 10th commitment for Rutgers Football for official visitors this past weekend. I have a full episode that dropped earlier today on the 9 commitments, a full breakdown on everything in terms of, film review, projections for the future, power offers, everything. So player grades, all that. And now Robbie Johnson joins the crew. He is not currently rated by any service. However, as I stressed in the episode covering the 9 commitments over the weekend, offer list is certainly a sign of potential for a player, for a commit. Offer lists are certainly a sign for the potential that other programs are seeing and the kind of ceiling potential there is for a prospect. And Robbie Johnson checks that box. He has 10 offers currently per 24/7 Sports. And they're mostly of the power variety. Aside from Rutgers, you have Duke, Minnesota, Pitt, Syracuse, West Virginia, as well as Temple, Old Dominion, UMass, and old friend Connecticut. Yes, that was sarcasm. 6'4", edge, rusher, 230 pounds, from Wilmington, Delaware, plays for Delzinium High School, class of 25. Johnson is now the 5th defensive line commit from this past weekend out of the 10, joining Chase Linton, 3-star out of Atlanta, Myron Gurman from Spencerport, New York, another 3-star, Braxton Kyle from North Gwinnett, and Raiden Bruins, also an edge rusher from Florida, who I really like. I said he was my sleeper for that class. So Rutgers doing work along the defensive line, really adding depth for the future. And Robbie Johnson, like I said, legit power offer list. I think as the rankings update, a lot of these guys will be even higher just in terms of their ratings. In terms of Johnson, he's not rated yet, but let's see where he lands. But obviously Rutgers sees a lot in him that they like. Johnson even took a visit to Penn State Junior Day in January. So, he's drumming up more and more Power 5, Power 4 interest. He was scheduled to visit Minnesota next weekend. So another big win for this recruiting cycle for Rutgers football. And now, and I forgot to cite in my last podcast that 24/7 Sports composite ranking is always a little bit behind in terms of updating the national rankings. Rutgers was up to 20 after as of this morning. Now they jumped all the way up to 12, and their individual player rating, this is 12th nationally. The player rating grade, which I really spoke about in length, is what is, I think, in my mind, what you want to focus on, because it's early, because a lot of the top commitments, a lot of the top recruits in the 25 class have not committed yet. And that includes some targets that Rutgers had on campus this weekend. But right now they're 12th. Their player grade average is 86.92. Their player grade average in the 24 class was 86.90, and they finished 35th nationally. So they're trending right around the same spot. But again, there's some top recruits that they're still targeting. 4-star offensive lineman from Toms River, Jalen Matthews, visited this weekend. Things are trending well with him. They're really high on him. He's a top 250 national recruit. You have DJ McClary, who visited Penn State commit. Again, uphill battle there. But also 4-star receiver Michael Thomas, speedster from Donovan Catholic. Ton of Big X offers and Power 5 offers. Top 5 New Jersey kid. He was on campus. He tweeted he had a great visit. Jordan Houston and Vernon Allen, 2 really good receivers. I spoke about at length in my last podcast. Adding Thomas would be huge to that. Running back John Forster from St. Joe's. You have Maxwell Roy, defensive lineman, Bryce Jenkins, offensive lineman. All 4 stars have visited this past weekend. So if Rutgers can start to pick 1 or 2 or 3 of them off, that class ranking is really going to solidify, and they're on track to do even better than last year. Now 18 commits, so don't expect them to stay in the top 15, but hey, it's great to be number 12 while you are. This was similar to last year. Like I said, they're trending to the 30, 35 range. You get that player rating up average over 87, and that would be the best class since Shiano's been back, just in terms of raw numbers. But again, Power 5 offers, things you're seeing on tape. Rutgers is targeting their guys. They're solidifying the class early on in the cycle. And things are certainly trending in a positive direction ahead of the most anticipated fall football season that Rutgers has had in quite some time. So great news for the program there. Now shifting to hoops, some recruiting news as well. On Monday, big reason why I wanted to come back was 4-star point guard out of Long Island Lutheran, Glen Head, New York, Nigel James, a recruit that Rutgers has been on for a long time, has visited multiple times, took an official visit last fall. Top 100 recruit, has really trended in the right direction over the last year plus. Only 6 foot, but very good facilitator, playmaker, great on-ball defender, great relationship there with assistant TJ Thompson and his family. This is trending really well. I've said previously on this podcast this offseason that I thought in terms of the first shooter drop in 25 recruiting class, I felt like Nigel James very well could be that first recruit that Steve Pikiell lands, and certainly would be a very, very good one. Also notable when this was announced, you have Dylan Harper on his social media telling him he's got to come to Rutgers. You have Jalen Harrell, a top 100 wing that Rutgers is in on, and recently delayed his decision, commenting that that's the point guard. So all positive feedback there in terms of seeing other top recruits talk about Nigel James potentially ending up at Rutgers. So certainly a positive and something to keep an eye out for. He previously to reporters had said he was going to make a decision after the Peach Jam this summer. That's kind of typical for a lot of top 100 recruits, although a little bit early for some. But look for Rutgers to push hard. And, it would be great to get his commitment if they at any point. But obviously before the season would be certainly positive momentum on the recruiting trail that you want to keep going with 24 now, joining campus, joining the roster, joining the program, being on campus. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey around in New Jersey this past weekend on campus, was at that card show signing autographs. Team reporting June 15th. Things are starting to get real here. And Nigel James starting things off in the 25 class would be huge. Providence was all over him too. But obviously Syracuse, he officially visited Syracuse. St. John's has offered him. Virginia Tech has offered him. Louisville offered him with Pat Kelsey. So he's a highly sought after top 100 recruit. And Rutgers, I think, has a real good shot here. Strike here first in the 25 class. Also on Monday, former target Jamie Vinson, 3-star big man in the 24 class, who recently committed to Texas. Bit of a surprise. Had visited South Carolina, had visited Kentucky. There was reports that both were out, Kentucky and South Carolina, adding other players. It was believed to be between Rutgers and Rice. He's from Texas. Rice was recruiting him as well, but Texas snuck in there, ended up getting Jamie Vinson. Again, fringe top 50 recruit in the 24 class. I did like his potential as a rim defender, potential stretch 5, but wasn't going to be a player that I thought was going to be ahead of Leith and Somerville by any stretch. And now focus for Rutgers probably turns to Victor Mikic. Big we've talked about, has been in the NBA academy, has played overseas. Serbian guys played for Serbian player, has played plays for the AAU team that Ace Bailey and Jermichael Davis previously played for, athletes of tomorrow. So there is a connection there. And talked about once the dead period was over, would Rutgers be able to get him to visit on campus? Dead period is now officially over. Wait and see there. 13 spots still to be filled. Will Rutgers fill it? Will it be with Mikic? It's not going to be with Vinson. And Mawot Mag making a little bit of news on Sunday, committing to BYU. I saw some negative messages out there. I know people are upset with how his career ended at Rutgers. I personally just think the whole thing is sad because the kid's story is incredible. I've had him on the podcast before. He's a survivor. I mean, his whole story about escaping the Sudan with his family, It's inspiring stuff. And he's obviously bounced around a lot in his career. He's had a ton of injuries. When he was right and on the court for Rutgers, he was great, and he was extremely tough, and he was a valuable player for Rutgers at times. Obviously, frustration with this past season, how limited he was, how few games he played, how it ended up at the end. Understandable, but I think now that it's over, he's gone. Wish him well. No need to, say anything negative on social media about the kid. Unfortunately for him, his legacy at Rutgers, again, another COVID situation. If there wasn't COVID, his career would have ended at Rutgers. Paul Mulcahy's career would have ended at Rutgers. Cliff O'Maury's career would have ended at Rutgers. It just makes you think about the narrative and how these, and again, all their situations are different. I'm not saying loop them all together. Cliff certainly left on the best terms out of all three. Now going to be at Alabama. But Mawot Mag lands in the Big 12 at BYU. San Diego State was in play. Some other Power 5 schools high majors were in play, but ultimately is gone. And best of luck to him. And, kind of just tying things together with what I've been saying with the national media and the perception and the hype and all this stuff. I have to love a tweet from Stephen Bardo from his podcast, BTN announcer and former, college basketball great at Illinois, just randomly talking about how much he's looking forward to Michigan State at Rutgers this year at the RAC, talking about Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, and then also some talented young guys with, Jeremy Fears, Xavier Booker with Michigan State, and how that's just going to be a great game. Tom Izzo's first visit to the RAC in 3 years, longest wait of any Big Ten program, had that Madison Square Garden game and then didn't play at the RAC the last 2 years. So it's going to be off the hook for sure. But again, another example of Rutgers getting hype, getting talked about in the national sphere of college basketball. June. So positive dividends there. Things are going to get really exciting very, very soon with Rutgers basketball. We'll see what happens with the 13th spot, but really big news with Nigel James on Monday, and we'll see how they fill that 13th spot. Football keeps rolling. Now at number 12 nationally in the 24/7 recruiting ranks. Like I said, that player grade, that's what I'm looking at, rounding out around right now 30, 35th. But again, it's all about fit, just like it is in any sport. It's fit, it's potential, it's culture, and Rutgers football is checking all those boxes right now.